Welcome to Ignition Community Live. This is episode 38, What to Expect at ICCX. Thanks for joining us for this exclusive preview of our upcoming conference. My name is Kristine Zukose, and I'm the Director of Community Alliances here at Inductive Automation. I'm moderating and co-hosting today's episode along with some of my colleagues who I'll introduce now. There's Pearson. He's our Chief Strategy Officer. Dudley, Director of Marketing. And then there's Travis Cox, who's the Co-Director of Sales Engineering. All of us are very involved in the Ignition Community Conference. I contribute to the conference by leading the team that's responsible for welcoming our Ignition community to Folsom. We handle all of the conference logistics, meals, as well as the much anticipated networking events. Additionally, we produce the Discover Gallery videos, coordinate panels, and work with our amazing conference sponsors. This year, we will also have a couple virtual sessions highlighting the great work being done in academia through our University Engagement Program. Finally, as many of you know, Inductive Automation is now a remote-first employer. We are very excited to host our remote employees from across the country. For many of them, this will be their first time experiencing ICC and engaging with our Ignition community. Don, Doug, and Travis, can you tell us about some of the hats that you wear for ICC? Don, let's go ahead and start with you.
Sure, Kristine. Well, I certainly will be involved in the keynote, and I guess I would say since we began in the early days, Doug, we tend to get involved, and I'll moderate some panels probably, certainly interact with the community, and I guess just generally speaking, I will be available for getting to also know some of our new employees and just be around the conference for whatever needs to be done. So. Not as many hats as in the past since you and Doug and the team have taken on more, but very interested and excited to be involved.
Thanks, Don. Doug, can you tell us about your role with ICC?
Sure, and there's plenty of hats with ICC to go around, so there's no shortage of that. I've been involved with the conference since the beginning, as well as the marketing team, and together we're involved in many different aspects of the conference, from the creation of the theme and the artwork, branding for the conference, to the promotion and marketing of the conference, obviously. And then we're very heavily involved with the content planning for the conference as well, to make sure that all attendees have sessions that are educational for them and that they can learn something and take that back to the organization and be able to apply it to do something great with Ignition. So always exciting to work on the project, and we have a great team that does a lot of work every year to make it happen.
Yes, you do. Thank you, Doug. And Travis, how about you?
Yeah, well, I'm really excited to always be a part of the ICC conference, a really exciting conference. I get to participate in, lucky to participate in the keynote discussions sometimes, and I'm on the committee that looks at the Discover Gallery, so I'll see the amazing projects that the community is building, which we'll talk about here today. And I get to conduct sessions and workshops at the conference. So looking forward to seeing everybody and looking forward to this session.
Thank you, gentlemen. All right, so we also have some guests from our Premier Integrator community today. Paul Mangels is a project engineer at DMC, and Phillip Bourner is group leader, MES, and data systems for Roeslein and Associates. Roeslein and DMC are our two finalist competitors in the Build-a-Thon, so they're here to get us pumped up to see that. Phillip and Paul, can you each tell us a little bit more about yourselves and what you do in your jobs? Paul, let's start with you.
Hey, thanks, Kristine. Yeah, I'm a project engineer at DMC, based out of our New York office. DMC, we're a systems integrator, and I work with customers across the country. I have a strong Ignition background, done a lot of Ignition development on some cool projects, including one of the projects that won last year's Firebrand Award. And now I do a combination of software development, code review, software design, architecture, project management, all related to DMC's many Ignition projects.
Awesome, thanks, Paul. Phillip, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Sure. Been working with Ignition, the software, for a little over 6 years now. Designing, implementing projects, and then also helping others in our department with issues and some quality control kind of aspects. So keep our all our projects on the same level.
Great. Well, thank you both for being here, and congrats for being the finalists in the Build-a-Thon. Now that we've introduced all of today's speakers, let's start off with some basic facts about this year's conference. This ICC is different because for the first time, we're offering two ways to experience it. The ICC in-person event is going to take place on September 20th and 21st at the Harris Center in Folsom, California, and preceded by the pre-conference registration and reception on September 19th. Yep, that is less than 6 weeks away. And then the ICCX virtual event is on October 3rd through the 5th. Doug, I'd like to bring you in now. Can you tell us why there are 2 ways to attend this year and why ICCX is the theme? Also, what factors went into that decision?
Yeah, sure. So before the pandemic, we did many conferences in person at the Harris Center in Folsom, California, and those were really popular. Obviously, with the pandemic, we had to take a break from that, but we did pivot and do virtual conferences for ICC for the last 2 years. And those also proved to be really popular. And one thing we noticed with the virtual conference is that we were able to get a lot more attendees from all different parts of the world that maybe wouldn't have been possible for them to come to the in-person conference before because of certain restrictions and also just limitations of space for the venue and things like that. So this year, we decided we did want to bring the in-person conference back to have that in-person experience again, but we didn't want to lose the option for so many of the people that had gotten familiar and enjoyed their time experiencing the conference as a virtual event. So that's why we wanted to keep both those options intact for this year, and that's why we're doing it as two different events, as you mentioned, the in-person and the virtual. So those were some of the factors that went into that decision and doing it the way we're doing it. As far as the theme itself, ICCX, the X means 10, and it's the 10th year of doing the conference. And we thought that was a noteworthy milestone to celebrate. We also were kind of fascinated with X as an abstraction for an exchange of ideas and interactivity and intersection. And all of those things are very fundamental to what the conference is, where people from all different industries with different experiences and different levels of understanding of mission can come together and share ideas and network together and exchange what they're doing. So that duality of meaning was really, really interesting for us, and we wanted to pursue that. We thought ICCX made for a really good theme for this year.
Absolutely. So besides the obvious, can you tell us how the in-person and virtual events will be different?
Yeah, so obviously in person, that's a big difference. You get to be there in person at the Harris Center and take part in the sessions that are going on live. You'll be able to meet the speakers face to face, as well as other attendees, and then also many staff members from Inductive Automation that will be there. So that's the biggest difference. Obviously, in-person networking. All those same sessions will be available for the virtual conference. The difference there is that they will be recorded during the in-person and they'll be available to watch as videos in the virtual conference. That being said, there's going to be some content in the virtual conference that is not part of the in-person conference. Specifically, there's going to be a whole track of international sessions put on by our distributor partners. And those sessions will be taking places or happening at different times, I should say, that are appropriate for the region that the distributors are over, as well as in the native language for those regions. That was a really great addition to the conference the last few years. The virtual conference, we wanted to bring that back for the virtual conference this year. And there will be a few other sessions that are taking place only virtually. So even if you do come in person, the virtual conference will still have a little bit of additional content you didn't see in person. And so it's worth coming for that. There's also going to be workshops during the virtual conference. Workshops are something we did in person before and were very popular, but we thought making them virtual this time around would open it up for many more people to take part in those. But the workshops will be great experience for people to learn from ignition experts about different subjects, and those will be taking place during the week of the virtual conference. So that's another thing that's going to be part of the virtual conference that will not be part of in person. That being said, if you really get your heart set on a workshop and you're coming to the in-person conference, don't fear, because all those workshops will be taking place a couple weeks later, and you can still sign up for those and take part in a virtual workshop after the in-person conference is over. So there'll be meals at the in-person conference, obviously, and then there'll be some swag there. So there's some of the key differences between in-person and virtual. So a little more detail about some of the considerations for the in-person conference. Obviously, there is some ticket and travel costs that are associated with that. Well, it's because it's in person. You've got to get your person to Folsom, so a little bit more cost there. There's also a few COVID requirements that are requirements of the actual venue itself. So the Harris Center, which is where we're hosting the in-person conference, requires that all in-person attendees must show a proof of vaccination against COVID-19 or proof of a negative COVID test for each day they enter the venue. So if you're planning to come in person, make sure you have that prepared if you want to take part in the in-person conference. There's also dress code. We recommend business casual for in-person attire. And there's a code of conduct as well for it basically boils down to keeping the conference environment educational, professional, safe, and harassment-free for everyone. All that still applies to our virtual conference as well. If you want more details about the code of conduct, you can visit our conference website and go to the community page, and then it's linked at the bottom. You can get more details there. So to talk a little bit more about the workshops we're offering, these are the virtual workshops taking place during the virtual conference week, and we're offering 6 different topics taught by either our experts at Inductive Automation or the experts as our strategic partners. So those topics are using perspective layouts effectively, Docker basics for an ignition development environment, designing navigation for mobile responsive applications using perspective, creating effective scripting structures in Ignition, modern low-code manufacturing workflows in batch processing, and then exploring how digital twins and data models are automatically ingested by cloud services with MQTT and Ignition for digital transformation. So 6 great topics to choose from there. A little more info on how we'll be delivering those workshops. We'll be using a platform to allow us to deliver those live and online. If anyone has ever come to any of our online trainings for like our core class or scripting, we're using the exact same platforms that we use to deliver those classes. So it'd be a great experience for attendees. There is a cost associated with virtual workshops. It's $125 per seat. And there is a limitation of 20 attendees for each workshop. So that being said, there's going to be multiple occurrences of several of the workshops. So if you find that the workshop you really want is full, there should be hopefully another time you can sign up for to take part in that. But we do have a cutoff. The last day to purchase a workshop seat is September 18th. So if you do want to get in on one of these workshops, you'll want to be able to get in pretty soon to get your seat claimed. To do that, you just go to our conference website and go to the schedule section, and you'll find a workshop schedule that has all the workshop times listed, as well as buttons to register yourself for one of those workshops, and it's linked right there on the page if you're curious.
Thanks, Doug, for giving us the big picture of this year's ICC. Now I'd like to get into some of the specific events at ICC, starting with the Discover Gallery. Ever since our 2014 conference, we've proudly presented the Discover Gallery as a video showcase of the most innovative Ignition applications built by members of our global Ignition community. Travis, since you're so heavily involved in the Discover Gallery, could you tell us a little bit more about it?
Absolutely, yeah. I love the Discover Gallery. It is one of my favorite events that we do at the conference because we get to see all these amazing projects that the community is building out there. So at the beginning of the year, we started collecting submissions. We received more than 40 submissions. We narrowed that down to 17 exceptional projects that we're going to feature in this year's gallery. And now I'm really excited to unveil the list of companies whose projects have been selected this year. Here is the list of integrators and end users who will be featured in this year's Discover Gallery. AT Automation for EKK Eagle Simrax, Automation Mechatronics for BWX Limited, Barry Waymiller Design Group for Autolus Therapeutics, BIJC for Scottish Leather Group, Brock Solutions for United Airlines, Brown Engineers LLC for Ultimate Service Associates, FG Automacao Industrial for Saint-Gobain, Flex Renovation for American Water, Grantech for National Resilience Incorporated, Industrial Networking Solutions for Dudley Brothers, Norlex Producteur, Peak Control Systems Integrators for Matheson Trigas, Rezu 31, Sage Group for Alexandrina Council, Streamline Control for CHS, Vertec for SB Energy, and finally, Wunderlich Malik Engineering for Stone Brewing. And what an amazing set of projects that we have here. So to see these projects and to find out which ones are winning an Ignition Firebrand Award, you've got to attend ICC, either in person or virtual.
Thanks, Travis. Before we move on, can you tell us what some of the common trends are that you see in this year's Discover Gallery projects?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's always really exciting for us to look at the projects that are submitted and to kind of see the different trends that are happening, especially as we look at industry trends, out there. And in this year, we had 3 specific trends that we found. The first and foremost was that the projects are just simply larger, and they're really pushing the boundaries of Ignition. There's more data, more devices that people are trying to access and bring in, more people that are trying to get access, to the applications, the client, and the more features that people are really using. They're really giving customers a full feature set. So that was one trend that we saw. Another is looking at industry trends. Is we're seeing Industry 4.0 in action and digital transformation in action. So that is the use of edge computing, the use of MQTT, and the use of cloud. You're going to see a lot of projects where all 3 of those elements are in play, and it's really exciting to see the benefits and the innovation that's happened there. And lastly, the last trend we saw is really around the perspective module for Ignition. And we've seen some really amazing projects and applications that are built on perspective, that are completely mobile responsive design, and that really are providing a lot of benefit to people getting data to on their phones and tablets, and no matter where they happen to be. So those 3 trends you're going to see in this year's gallery, and I'm really looking forward for everybody to see these projects, as we had a lot of fun going through them here.
Thanks, Travis. Now, here's the awards trophy for this year's Firebrand Award winners. Doug, can you tell us about the Firebrand Award and how your team came up with the new trophy design?
Yeah. So the Firebrand Awards are given to the companies that build the most outstanding Ignition projects in our Discover Gallery every year. The award represents excellence in Ignition application design and implementation, as well as the collaborative community spirit and commitment to outstanding customer service that truly sets the Ignition community apart. We wanted a design for the reward that communicated the positive energy of our community, as well as our innovative thinking. So we chose design elements like geometric shapes, high contrast colors, and large type to communicate the clear vision and bold thinking of our award winners. Of course, the most impressive thing about the Firebrand Award is the work of the companies that win that award. All the videos of the Firebrand Award winning projects, as well as the projects from the rest of the Discover Gallery finalists, will be available to view at on our conference website when the conference starts in September. So all the attendees will be able to get inspired by their work. Over to you, Don.
Thanks, appreciate that. Also, I just really want to talk a little bit about the Build-a-Thon here, because this year's competition, it's going to bring back everything you loved about the Build-a-Thons of yore, but it's really a whole different animal. I mean, for one thing, you probably didn't know, or maybe you did know, that the Build-a-Thon is already underway and has been for some time. So to give us a little clue about what this Build-a-Thon has that's so different, I just want to bring you back, Travis, and give you a few minutes to talk about this. So over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Don. Well, Build-a-Thon, this is an event that is really near and dear to my heart. Myself and Kevin, we started this event a few years back as a way to have a kind of a fun session at the conference, and where we can show, building a project live on stage. And Kevin and I competed against each other a couple of years, and it was a lot of fun. The third year, when we did the conference virtually, we decided to bring in integrators and show the amazing skills and the projects integrators are building. And so now really the Build-a-Thon's kind of turned into the elite event, elite competition for integrators to show their skills. And this year is no different. We invited all of our premier integrators to apply for a chance to compete in this year's Build-a-Thon. And this year we had 3 separate challenges already that happened, each one more difficult than the one before, and we narrowed that field down to 2 integrators. The final challenge, of course, is going to be at the live ICC in September. So to kind of recap on the challenges, the first one was in mid-June. It started out with 19 premier integrator finalists, but only 10 competitors were left standing after it was all said and done. So what they did is they went through a bunch of little mini challenges and answering questions and kind of testing their ingenuity of Ignition and just of technology. Then challenge 2 was in late June with 10 competitors. After the dust settled, only 5 competitors remained after that challenge. And then the third one, which was the most challenging, started with the 5 integrators, and they did this in mid-July. And after that, All the challengers battle fiercely, but two of them reign supreme here and survive to be at the ICC Build-a-Thon this year. And those two final competitors are DMC and Roeslein Associates, and they're here with us today. They tied in the third challenge, and they will face off in front of the watchful eyes of the worldwide ignition community at the final Build-a-Thon challenge at ICC on September 21st. And what's really exciting about this is we're actually going to have these two competitors build a project from start to finish right before the actual live Build-a-Thon event on Wednesday of the conference. So let's bring out a competitor from each of the teams to ask a couple of questions. First, we have Paul from DMC and Phillip Bourner from Roeslein. They'll be joined by team members from their company at the Build-a-Thon. So Paul and Phillip, I've got a few questions for you. First, what was it like to compete in the first 3 rounds? And what did you learn in that process? Paul, I'll start with you.
Might be on mute, Paul.
We'll figure out Paul's audio there. Phillip, how about you answer that question first?
Sure. We had a great time. A lot of interesting questions in those challenges, and really got to see people from our team see some random skills that they had that I didn't know they had before. It was a lot of fun. And we also had people from our other sites in the UK and in Canada, and everybody helped. It took the entire team to get to where we are.
Awesome. Paul, is your audio working now?
Yeah, can you hear me now? Is that better?
Oh, sure. There we go. Gotcha.
Sorry about that. Yeah, we had a great time competing in the Build-a-Thon. We used the whole event kind of to generate some buzz internally at DMC about the competition. We got a bunch of engineers together, kind of had a party with it. And one thing we learned is that we have a lot of people at DMC who are really excited and love to work with Ignition. So I think that was probably the biggest takeaway we had from the experience so far.
Well, awesome. Well, yeah, I mean, congratulations both of you for making it to the final round. Really excited to see you guys come and compete. But so how does it feel, to actually be in the finals here and be able to come to conference and show off your skills? Paul, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I think we're just mainly really excited to show off our Ignition skills and compete in front of the whole conference and the wider Ignition community. I think we're also looking forward to meeting all of you guys at Inductive and spending some time with you guys in the days leading up to Build-a-Thon. I think that's going to be a really fun experience for our team. Yeah, we're looking forward to putting up a strong competition. We have a solid team that has a lot of great project experience working with some of the new, most cutting-edge Ignition features. We're also excited to seeing what Roeslein puts out as well. We always look forward to seeing cool projects that are built with Ignition.
Absolutely. How about you, Phillip?
Yeah, we're super excited to just be able to finally come out and compete instead of the last few years we were able to view virtually and then watching from the seats when you, Travis, and Kevin were competing. So we're super excited to actually get our hands in and see how the process works, and to be pushed by DMC and try to make the best projects we can.
Yeah, great. All right, so last question I got for you guys is why do you think your team will win, and what's your message to your competitor? So Phillip, why don't we start with you?
Sure. So we've been working with Ignition since I've started working here. We've done projects for many different people across the world and different areas and different types of projects itself. So I figured that versatility will give us an edge in being able to know how to adapt to any curveballs you guys try to throw at us.
Awesome. Well, again, congratulations, both of you. Looking forward to the conference. I know there's a little bit of anxiety about what to expect since we haven't released any real details on what you're going to be competing, but definitely looking forward to it, guys. All right. So I also want to let everyone know that our finalists aren't the only ones who get to experience the Build-a-Thon challenges. We've released all 3 rounds to the community. You can take the Build-a-Thon challenges now by visiting ignitionbuildathon.com, and you can use your IA login to access the challenges. So you get to see all the challenges that our integrators competed in and what they had to do in order to get to the final 2 here. We're also planning to share the Build-a-Thon challenge projects that we built in Ignition. This was built in Perspective on the Ignition Exchange. You'll be able to download the challenges on August 18th, so next week. That's a week from now. And if you get stumped while you're taking the challenges, don't worry, because we'll also be releasing an answer key on August 18th to help you work through each of those challenges. Over to you, Don.
I'm feeling more excited than ever about the Build-a-Thon. I know that it's going to be exciting, but before we wrap this little piece up, I have to ask you, Travis, there's always been some form of entertainment or something. Are we going to get anything this year?
100% you're going to get something this year. The IA Department of Funk is, of course, up to the challenge to bring in some music to not only the conference but to the Build-a-Thon. So there's definitely some surprises there. I got to participate in one of the music videos last year. We'll see what happens here this year, but you're in for some treats for sure.
That's cool. That's cool. I got to tell you, I really do love it when the Department of Funk starts getting it on. That's good. So we're all looking forward to whatever we get in terms of a musical treat from those folks. Now, of course, we're also definitely looking forward, been mentioned a couple of times, but really looking forward to the keynote on day one of the in-person ICC. It has been a highlight of every single year since the beginning, and I know that this year's not going to be any exception. What can you expect in this year's keynote? The speakers are the leadership team from our company. Steve Heckman, Colby Clegg, Kat Robinette, Travis Cox, Kevin, myself, and many more folks also be involved. So I think what you're going to see is us reflecting. It's the first time we've been in person in a while, reflecting a little bit on the amazing growth of you as a community, the positive impact that you've made over the years. I think we're also going to be discussing a little bit the growth and direction of the company as we look ahead to what's to come. I know that Doug talked about the theme being X and the first 10 years of ICC, but we want to look forward to what's coming in the next 10 years too. We'll always, as we do, but we'll certainly spotlight Firebrand Award winners. We'll update you on the explosive growth of the Ignition ecosystem this year, and really just kind of get together and celebrate 10 years of ICC. It'll be a lot of fun. We're planning on having a good time too. So I would say it's going to be a great keynote, but it's really not the only keynote at ICCX. This year, we've got the technical keynote and developer panel. We've had, developer panels at ICC before, and they've always been a really crowd favorite, but it seems to be evolving into something a bit new now. And I bet, Doug, you've been involved in all the discussions as this has evolved and something that's going on behind the scenes in developing still. Can you explain a little bit what we can expect to see and hear at this year's new technical keynote on day 2?
Absolutely. So the co-creators of Ignition, Colby Clegg and Carl Gould, have decided to expand the traditional developer panel that we usually do into a new format. So this year, attendees will be getting everything they loved about the classic format and then some. Colby and Carl will cover the recent progress of Ignition. They'll also look at the roadmap for the near future. And no spoilers right now, but I can assure everyone that there are some very exciting things ahead for Ignition's future. I also hear that Colby and Carl are going to get some help from a few software engineering all-stars. So I'd expect to get some deeper dives into Ignition security, user experience design, and Ignition deployments from some of the talented members of our software engineering team. After the presentation, there will be a Q&A session like we have done in the past. So attendees should come prepared with their best questions. This is really kind of the ultimate inside baseball event for Ignition fans. So you really owe it to yourself to get to the session in person if you can, and then definitely do it virtually if that's not possible. So it should be a great session this year.
Thanks, Doug. Unfortunately, we don't have time to talk about every big event at ICC. We want you to just come and be part of it. This is to be a quick snapshot today into what's exciting about what we're going to do. But we do want to at least mention the latest Ignition Exchange Challenge. Travis, you've been involved in this since day one. Can you quickly tell us about this year's Exchange Challenge and how to enter?
Yeah, exactly. For those of you who don't know what the Exchange Challenge is, so we have the Ignition Exchange, which is a community tool where people can upload resources they've built in Ignition and share that with the broader community. And when you do that, you have a chance to enter into the exchange challenge that we do at the conference. So during ICC, we'll spotlight 3 of the most innovative community resources that have been uploaded to the Ignition Exchange since last year's ICC. The only thing you have to do to enter is to upload and publicly share a resource that you built. And it could be something really small, it could be something large, it's totally up to you. Every upload since last year's ICC is automatically entered. So if you haven't added a resource since last ICC yet, you still got time to do that for a chance to become an Exchange Challenge champion. We love to see the quality and quantity of resources that all of you have been sharing lately, so please keep them coming. And we're really excited to see the innovations that are happening there as well. So with that, back over to you, Kristine.
Thanks, Travis. Well, to wrap up, I'd like to ask my fellow hosts one more question. Don, Doug, and Travis, can you each tell me one thing you've learned over the past 10 years about the community, the company, or putting on a conference? And then I'll give you my answer. Don, over to you.
Kristine, I think there's so many things, but I knew this question was coming, so I had a chance to think about it at least a little bit. But you know, when I think back to even the beginning of the conference, and Doug, you know, when we put on the first conference and sort of selected the name community as a marketing, we thought it would be good marketing to not just call it a users conference, call it a community. And then we had the epiphany after it was over that, my gosh, we do have a community around our company and around our product. And to me, really putting on this conference, I've learned that we learn as much from you, our community, as hopefully we're able to share with you as the community. And that it's not an us and them. We're all part of this community. And the exchange that goes back and forth is so powerful. It helps every aspect of our company. Everyone on our team learns and grows from the direct interaction with you as our community members. So I think more than anything else, it's really a touch point, a key benchmark every year to sort of be in touch, learn and grow, and have a strong relationship evolving of, you know, all the community members that come and participate. So I've learned that it's something that I'm always going to take away more than I ever give from being involved in the conference.
Oh, that's great, Don. Doug, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think one thing about this conference that I've really grown to love is it really kind of helps us as a company kind of reflect again on what our mission is. You know, and many people on the call know our mission is to remove those technological and economic obstacles from our customers so they can turn their ideas into reality. And for me, you know, the conference is really kind of embodies that. It really helps us see the reality of that mission by being able to talk to our community face to face, see what they're doing, hear the ideas they have and the exchange of those ideas. And it also causes us to think about how can we even further empower our customers and our community to do even more and to really make our mission, you know, not just words, but reality. And it all kind of comes together in the conference for me. And I think it helps our company reflect on that. And that kind of really becomes a part of what we do and how we think about ourselves and the direction for what we're going to take the company and do to help our customers. So I've really come to appreciate that. It's part of just what we do as a company, and it's really part of our identity. And our identity as a community is really formed at these conferences. So if you hadn't had a chance to come out yourself, it really is a great experience to see that. So I think that's one of the things I've really grown to love about the conference over the years.
Definitely, it's so important. And Travis, how about you?
Yeah, you know, one of the things that I've really learned over the last 10 years of the conference, I mean, it's such a great event for everybody to come together and to you know, collaborate and to share ideas and all of that, as Doug and Don were saying. You know, and Steve founded this company, you know, on being able to break down barriers and to provide a tool that was, you know, based on standards and modern technology and just made things easy. And what we really see with the community is, you know, the community, how innovative they are and how much of change makers and thought leaders that this community is when they come and show where they want to go and how they want to push the boundaries and how they really want to push this industry forward. And it's really exciting to see and be a part of that because so many great ideas come out of it. And I just really love seeing that the community itself is just very collaborative itself. You know, a lot of people work together and share those ideas and resources that they've worked on. So that's one thing I learned about it. It's a great event for that, and you know, you come, you will learn a lot out of this event.
Absolutely. And for me, to kind of piggy off what Travis just said, what really amazes me year after year is the passion for Ignition as a product, as well as, you know, sharing experiences between community members. It's really amazing to see how everybody can come together and, you know, be open and transparent and learn from each other each year. So I'm very excited to see everybody. It's been a while since we've seen a lot of our old friends, and very, very excited to welcome new ones to Ignition Community Conference this year. Don, back over to you.
Thank you, Kristine. And well, you know, Travis, Doug, Kristine, I guess it's about time to wrap up this little preview here, because I think we got a few things to do to get a conference to work on here. But before a little Q&A, because there are some questions in the queue, we want to make sure we answer everyone's questions here. I just want to invite anyone who hasn't registered. If you haven't done that yet, go to our website, ICC website, and register. Whether you come in person, whether you do virtually, we'd love for each of you to come and be part of the community that's, you know, really involved in changing industrial automation for the better. With that, let's go to some questions. Doug, I think there's some frequently asked questions that I see repeated in different places. So if you don't mind, I'm going to give you a rapid fire round of push questions, and then we'll get to the queue that other people have asked. So first, who should come to ICC?
So if you love Ignition, this is really the event to come to. We do try to plan sessions for people of different experience levels. So whether people are brand new, or they've been using Ignition for a little while, or they've been using Ignition for years and years, we have beginner, intermediate, and advanced sessions. So if you love Ignition, if you're just learning about it and want to learn more, I think this is really an event for you, and you should come to ICC.
Great. Will sessions be recorded during the in-person ICC experience?
Yes, they will be recorded, and those sessions will be replayed for the virtual conference.
Fantastic. Will I receive a refund if I cancel my registration for the in-person conference?
So refunds are available for those people that register for the in-person conference. There's also the ability to transfer that ticket to another person in your organization, or defer it to a future year if that works as well.
Cool. How about virtual workshops? Refundable?
So virtual workshops are not refundable, but they can be transferred to another person in your organization.
Cool. Next question, will there be accommodations for people with disabilities?
Yes, there'll be accommodation for people with disabilities in the in-person conference, absolutely.
I think I'll throw this one to you, Kristine. What meals are provided during the in-person event?
Sure. So we'll have hors d'oeuvres and drinks during the Monday reception. And then on Tuesday, when the conference begins, we'll have, you know, light breakfast and snacks throughout the day, as well as lunch will be served. And that evening, we will have a wonderful party at our headquarters featuring some food trucks from around the area. And then on Wednesday, again, we'll have, you know, breakfast, snacks, and lunch available for attendees.
Thanks, Kristine. And I know this question gets asked always. I know this conference's content is full, but if someone's interested in speaking at ICC, who should they contact?
So probably the best thing to do right now would be to go to our conference website, and there's a contact us form at the bottom, and you can select on that contact form that you're interested in speaking at ICC, and send us a message, and we'll be able to get that and make note of it.
Hey, that's my rapid fire. Now we have a queue of questions I want to go through quickly, and if I miss something, someone else can just jump in and answer it. But is a photograph of vaccine status acceptable?
Yeah, the venue will accept photographs of vaccine status, and we'll accept photographs of negative COVID tests.
Okay, are there virtual replays on demand or at set times?
So in the virtual conference, the session will launch at a certain time. So there'll be like a block that will start at 10 o'clock or whatever. And the sessions in that block will all play live at that point. So if you come into the session when it's already started, you'll just pick it up wherever it is. Once the sessions are over, then they will be available in the replay section of our conference platform, and you can watch them on demand at that point.
Cool. What are the conference fees? It's $1,000 to come to the conference. You can register online and pay with a credit card, and you're ready, set to go. And then do you need to pre-register for the individual sessions for the in-person event? I have already done the general registration.
Yeah, you don't have to register for the individual sessions of the in-person event. You just register once, and then you just come, and the stages are at various sizes, but you should be able to get in the one you want. That being said, if you're going to a session that's in a smaller stage, you'll probably want to get there earlier to get your seat. There's at least one of the stages that has room for only 100 people, so make sure to get your seat quickly on that one.
Sounds good. We'll just take a few more questions here. I'll do it quickly, but this is a side question. I may throw this to you, Travis. Are there opportunities for internships or entry-level roles in Ignition? I just discovered Ignition during my internship and would love to dive deeper. I'm into data science. Smiley face.
Well, so currently we don't have any internship programs here, but I would definitely encourage you to go to Inductive University and get through that, get a credential, and work towards certification of the product, and that will certainly open up a lot of opportunities. And we're certainly hiring folks for different positions around the company, and looking for that expertise. And I'm sure a lot of the community as well. I know a lot of integrators are looking for folks as they're growing too.
Cool. Next question. Are shorts business casual? I'm getting mixed results from Google. I don't know who's going to answer that one, but I'm throwing it out.
I can jump in there. We want you to be comfortable. So if you are comfortable wearing shorts, then I think we'll be just fine with that. We're not going to turn you away. No problem there.
I was going to joke, if I wear shorts, I may be comfortable, but the rest of the world might not be comfortable to be around. But I'll leave that. I won't wear shorts, just for the benefit of everybody.
Okay.
All right. Will there be a mobile app for the event like prior years?
Yeah, the in-person conference is going to have a mobile app that will have the schedule and speakers and all that listed on there, as well as push notifications. I know it's been a popular feature before, so we'll have that again.
And then this next one says, can a small group of people listen in on the same workshop for one fee?
I don't think so. I mean, can they listen in? It's going to be an interactive workshop. Will you be putting stuff together? So I think you're not going to get much out of it with just listening in, and it's one person per seat. So I don't think that's an option.
Cool. Okay, I think that I don't know if I missed anything. Other people have the queue here too of questions, but just one more here. Can you tell us a little bit about the virtual platform and what it will be like? Doug, can you give a quick answer to that?
Yeah, so we're using a virtual platform called Hopin, and it's a virtual conference platform. Kind of has everything in one place. So for those of you that came to the virtual conference last year, it's gonna be similar to that, although it's a different platform, so it won't be exactly the same experience, but it will have all the sessions listed there. They'll be launched at certain times, and they'll be launched on virtual stages. So you'll be able to go into those virtual stages and watch whatever session is going live at that point. I already mentioned the replay feature, which will be a section of the platform that has all the sessions that are already played, so you can go back and watch those on demand. There's also going to be a chat feature built into the platform, so attendees will be able to talk to each other through that. There will also be chat that will be available on the individual stages where those sessions are happening. So there'll be some interactive Q&A after some of those sessions. You can still get some questions answered. We did mention vendors as part of the in-person conference. We will have vendors as part of the virtual conference as well. And there'll be a section where you can go meet those folks and ask questions and see what they have to offer. So yeah, it's kind of everything in one place, one unified experience. I think people will really enjoy the virtual experience of the conference this year using that platform.
That is great. You actually mentioned vendors, so that brings us to the last question. We're about at 45 minutes and we're ready to wrap up here, but Kristine, I'll let you answer this last question. Will there be exhibitors at the live ICC this time?
Yes, there will be exhibitors. We will have about 20 sponsors and exhibitors attending ICC this year with great products and solutions to showcase for our community. So we're very excited to welcome them, and they're very excited to meet all of you.
Thank you, Kristine. Thank you, Doug. Thank you, Travis. Is there any, open the mic to anybody here if you guys have any final statements any of the three of you want to make, and if I'll give it a second, and if not, we will go ahead and move forward. Anybody?
All I'll say, Don, is this is the event you don't want to miss. There's going to be a lot of exciting things that are happening, a lot of looking to the future as well. So definitely don't miss this one. Would love to see everybody in person as well. Last couple of years has been interesting. It's kind of nice to get back to some normality here.
Yeah, I totally agree, Travis. It's going to be exciting. As we move to the last slide, I simply would say this. We hope you enjoyed this little sneak peek of ICC. And we all echo what Travis said, hope to see you guys there. Ignition Community Live will be back after ICC with episode 39. Until then, please follow us on social media, subscribe to our weekly news feed and podcast. Bye for now. Have a great day. We'll see you next month.